everybody. So I wanted to jump on here today and talk about something that I find really important and that kind of struck me the other day when I saw it on Instagram. And I want to address it. I want to say before I even begin that I will mention our current president. I will mention where the post came from, but this is in no way a political stance of any kind. That's for another time. Okay. So I was scrolling through my social media and I noticed the other day that there was a lot of discussion around the president trying to bring back the presidential fitness test. There's a lot of people who feel a lot of different ways about it. This is not about that either, but it stems from that. Okay. So the Washington Post had posted how the last time a president used the presidential fitness test, or when it was still in practice during a presidential term, it mentioned that body mass index increased overall. They were trying to use this as a negative point. They were trying to prove that maybe the presidential fitness test isn't a great measure of health and fitness for Americans. I want to push back. I want to talk about this. I think that BMI, or body mass index, is an incredibly important topic because I think that we rely still way too heavily on it. In this case, it was being used and painted as a negative, but actually, if you know the facts about it, it kind of goes against their argument. Okay, so body mass index is a measure of your height to weight ratio. Pretty simple. That's what makes it so widely used, so universal. It's very simple way. You put in your height, your weight, and it gives you a number. And based on that number, it gives you a category of underweight all the way to obese or extremely obese. Okay, it's been a long time since I've looked at the exact categories, but it gives you a range of everything. Talks about everything from that underweight category to as obese as the categories will go. Now, that being said, you put in my height and weight into a BMI calculator, and I am given the obese category. I may not have 12% body fat, but I'm not obese, okay? But it is because I weigh more than I should for my height due to muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. I have more of it than I have fat. So I'm considered obese according to BMI. So when I see something like the Washington Post trying to be like, oh, the last time the presidential fitness test was in use, BMI standard or BMI numbers increased. Okay, there's two reasons that's happening. They're trying to claim it's because fat went up, but it's also could be because strength went up. Look, I don't really know where I fall in the presidential fitness test. I was never good at it. And here I am being a coach and an athlete and have spent my life dedicated to sports and fitness. So who knows? But the stronger and fitter you are, the higher your BMI could possibly be. Okay, so somebody who is 5'9" and has a lot of muscle and is super fit is going to be considered obese. Somebody who's 5'9" and has a lot of fat and very little muscle can also be considered obese according to their body mass index or BMI. I think that this is just, it needs to go. And a lot of doctors still use it. I have even been called out by a doctor. That was the first and last time I saw that doctor, but she walked into the room and she said, I see that you have a BMI of blah, blah, blah. We need to address your diet and exercise. And I looked at her and I said, have you even looked at me? Have you looked at my face, or have you just read the number on the board, on your clipboard? And then she kind of looked up and was like, she didn't really have a response because she hadn't taken me into account as the human sitting in front of her. She just took into account what my BMI told her, and that said obese. And a lot of doctors still do it because it is super easy. Now, in the grand scheme of things, for a population, it's probably okay if you're looking at hundreds of people at a time. Although I think that's changing as well. I think a lot more people, specifically women, are getting stronger and fitter. So I'm not sure that that will even last much longer. Now, what can we and what should we be looking at instead of BMI if it can have these skewed results? If it can show somebody who's fit and muscular being obese, what are better ways to measure health and fitness and keep an eye on that? I will tell you right now, I will never say the scale either. So the scale and BMI are not it for me. I will never put a client on the scale. I will never look at a client's BMI. The 3 ways that I am going to help clients measure their progress. We're going to take photos, or I'm going to encourage you to take photos and videos. You can take measurements. I can show you how and where to take the measurements. You can do, if you really find a specialist, I don't like to do it very much either, but you can do pinch tests as well. And that kind of goes with the tape measure measurements at spots. And then my third way, for which I think ultimately is the best way to test your change in abilities and fitness levels, is to record your workouts and the weights that you're using, and to have a program that you follow. Okay. So again, I will never give somebody a scale as a measurement. I will never do somebody's BMI as a measurement, but I will encourage photos. I will encourage measurements of some kind, and I will encourage logging your workouts. You do not have to do all 3. If I were going to pick my number 1, it would be logging your workouts and writing down the weights and reps and how you felt before and after those workouts. And my second would be photos. If you could do 2 of them, it would be 100% those 2, and it's going to give you the best, singular best picture of whether or not you're making improvements, whether or not you're making strength gains, whether or not you're reaching your goals. Okay. The only reason photos is second for me is because not everybody is out to lift for body composition changes. I'm not. I want to get stronger. It's all right if my body doesn't change. Although I know that over time, the stronger I get, the more my body will change, just as a nature of the beast and how biology works. Okay. So again, I can give you a guide for how to take the photos so you can have accurate, consistent, comparable photos. I can show you how and where to measure around the body to get good, accurate, consistent measurements. And then the nice thing about writing down your workouts is it doesn't have to be exactly the same every time, but as long as you're notating your weights and reps, and then a little bit about how you felt, like, oh, that felt easier than last time, or I actually think I can go up in weight next time, or whatever the case is, just one simple sentence to encompass what that workout meant to you that day can make a big difference in how we test our health and fitness. Okay. Please, we need to get away from BMI. If your doctor is using BMI, have a real conversation with them and let them know you want to talk about other ways to measure your health and fitness. Okay, the scale is not it. That's a story for another time as well. And I hope that you guys got to this point and were able to learn a little something about your BMI and how to better identify your progress. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. You can email me at jen@momsfitlife.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get some future helpful tips just like this one.